Sailing on. He's so cold. Stay a while.
Hey guys, welcome back to another brand new
So
tutorial. It's
very
going to be an interesting lesson today because we are going to draft a corset with a yoke, and it's going to be a gown this time, not a top. Okay, so in the drafting of these corsets, we are going to introduce very new techniques, and again at the end of the drafting we are going to also sew this corset. So now you can see I have my front bodice right now to work with, and I want to show you how I got all these lines you are seeing here. Okay, so this is my front bodice right now, and I've already taken my bust point measurements. I took my bust point measurements as 10 inches. As you can see, my under bust is 13 and my front length is 16 inches. Remember that the front length is usually longer than the back length, and on this tutorial I have my back length as 14.5 inches. So this means that I have 1.5 inches that intake for my bust dart. So let us jump into this tutorial immediately. So the first thing I want to show you is how I created my bust radius. So you can see my bust point is 10 inches, under bust is 3 inches, and now I have 3 inches bust radius. So I have to rotate these 3 inches. That is all these points you are seeing from the bust point. I have 3 inches all around. So when you place your tape on the bust point, this is my bust point, you make a mark of 3 inches. I did that, made a mark of 3 inches. This is what I did all over to have all these dotted points. I usually like doing it this way so that it will guide my cup for the corset. And remember, this corset is going to have a yoke like I earlier said, so we are going to see how we are going to achieve this with a yoke. And then we are also going to attach our front bodies with our down skirts, okay, to form this corset gown. So now let us jump into creating a corset cup. So now I want to show you, I want to tell you that I have the length of this my arm side. Okay, I dropped my shoulder by 1 inch, and I have an armhole measurement of 15 inches, which I divided by 2. That is how I got this 7.5. And the midpoint of this 7.5, I have to fold my tape, and I had my midpoint. So at the point of this midpoint, I went in by 0.75 or 3/4. I connected a straight line to that point, and then I curved to the circumference of my bust divided by 4. So I have a bust, I'm working with a bust circumference here. My round bust is 36. I divided it by 4 because I'm working on 1/4 of my bodies. So that is how I have 9 inches here. 36 divided by 4, you can see my mark of 9 inches right here. So I connected from this 0.75 down to this point. So that is all I have on this line. Another one is the bust span. I have a bust span of 7 7.25. That is from one distance of the nipple to the other. I have 7.25, and that 7.25 I divided it by 2. So that is how I have this bust span. You can see that. And I repeated the same thing here, and I also did the same, and now drew my straight line. Because this corset has a yoke attached to it, so I'm going to take the distance of my yoke from the shoulder. This is my shoulder line. I'll come down by 6 inches. So I'm going to cut off my yoke from 6 inches. So at this point of 6 inches, I'm creating a stroke. Okay, That is to show the part at which I want my yoke to appear. So now remember that I have a bust radius of 3 inches. That is the distance between my bust and my under bust, which I rotated. You can see the 3 inches. Now I'm going to, from the center front of this bust point, I'm going to mark 3 inches also. So this is the line right now. Now I am coming down from these 3 inches by 1 inch. I hope you understand what I mean here. So at this point of 1 inch, that is where I'm going to go in with 0.5. Remember, we are drafting a corset, so I'm going to make a straight line of 0.5 inch. So this straight line of 0.5 inch, I'm going to take it all the way down from that point. So I'm going to place my ruler from that point, and I'm going to create my line to the front length. So you can see that now. So like I said, I needed my yoke to fall between the shoulder line to 6 inches. So now I'm going to curve this cup right now. I'm going to curve my cup. Alright, so before creating a cup for the corset, I want to explain something on the waistline and the under bust. You know, we usually take our cup sizes, but sometimes many people find it difficult to determine which bust circumference will go for which cup. What do I mean by that? You know, we at the under bust, we usually come in by 1 inch. We come in by 1 inch right and left to create our cup, and that 1 inch we take either this way or that way. That does not work for everybody. It depends on your cup, your bust circumferences. So for that reason, I came up with this research. I have this chart here. You can see that. So I want you to look at this chart very well. The difference between your bust circumference and your under bust circumference. If, for example, you have the difference as 3 inches, you are going to use a bust size of 1.5. What do I mean by that? In this particular lesson, I'm making use of a round bust of 36 and a round under bust. That is taking your tape round your bust and taking your tape round your under bust. I believe you understand what I'm trying to explain. So when I took my tape round the bust, I have 36. My under bust, I have 32. So what I mean here is, at this chart, I have, let me write it here. I have 36. This 36, you take away 32 from it. Can you see? 6 take away 2, you have 4. This is 0. So my difference between my round bust and my round under bust is 4 inches. So coming to this chart right now, I fall in line 2. So this line 2, I'm going to make use of 2 inches bust size. That is the bust intake I'm going to take on this bust dart, the waist dart. I hope you understand that. So what if you have 3 inches as your difference, that is your bust circumference, take away under bust circumference. If it's 1.5 like I demonstrated, you will, if it is 3 inches, you take 1.5 that intake. That is how you are going to do. If you have it at 10 inches, it means you are going to use 3 as your bust size. So now I fall in line 2 because I have the difference as 4 inches. You can see how I did that. I took away, I have 4 inches. So I'm using 2 inches. So now I'm going to impute that 2 inches. And the 2 inches is going to appear under the bust. This is my bust point. So I'm going to share these 2 inches right now. I'm sharing it 1 inch. 1 inch here, 1 inch here. I'll come over to the waistline. I share 1 inch, 1 inch. So you can see the total is 2 inches. The total here is 2 inches. So now I'm going to connect these 2 inches right away. I'm connecting the 2 inches to this point, and I did the same to this point, so you can see that. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to create my cup. So to create my cup right now, I'm going to use these lines of my bust radius as a guide. I will always advise you to always take this bust radius. That will guide you for your corset, so that you will not have unnecessary exposure. So right now I'm going to place my pattern master, and I'm placing it on this created bust dart, waist dart right now, and I will allow it to align with this 0.5 we've already created. So now you can see I will have to align my pattern ruler, so that I will have a very good cup here. You can see that. So I've succeeded in creating that. Then for this other side, I'm going to place my tape on the bust point. This is my actual 3 inches bust radius, but because the bust is fuller on this part and I'm making use of a bust circumference of 36, I'm going to add 0.5. So if you have a larger bust, you have to make use of 0.75. So because 36 is not too big, I added 0.5 to it. That is 3.5. So at this point of 3.5, I'm also going to place my pattern ruler. I'll be connecting this 3.5 down to the darts. So can you see that I've succeeded in creating my cup right there? So the next thing I'm going to do is to create my upper cup from this point down to the point I want my yoke to start. Okay, so I'm going to place my pattern master. All right, so before I create this cup, let me determine my neckline. So looking at this, I have a neckline of 4 inches. That is what I'm working with, 4 inches. Now I want to place my neck depth. So I want to make use of a neck depth of 4.5 inches for this tutorial, because I don't want any unnecessary exposure. So I have 4.5 inches there. Now I'm going to place my ruler to form my neckline. Although this neckline depends on what you like, the neckline you really actually want to make. But for this tutorial, I have a round neckline at that point. So that is why you have this connection. So I'm going to share these darts. I'm going to share my shoulder. At this point, I have a shoulder. All right, so before I jump into that, I need to finish up my dart. Okay, let me finish up this dart right now. So at this point of the bust dart, okay, from the bust point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. So this 1 inch is because I'm still making use of a bust circumference of 36. If your bust circumference falls within 36 to 38, you can use 1 point. You can come down by 1.25. That's 1/4. And if it is from 40 and above, you can use 1.5. Okay, so this is for us to avoid having a sharp point at that point. So now that I've come down by 1 inch, I'm going to connect this 1 inch with my curve. I'm going to connect it, but before I connect that, I need to come up again with 1 inch. So I'll be coming up with 1 inch. All right, so now I came down by 1 inch, I came up by 1 inch. So like I said before, if it is within 36 to 38, then you can come by 1.25, 1.25, and all that. So I'm going to connect this 1 inch right to this 1 inch. So I'll be placing my pattern ruler right now. Okay, so I'm placing it You can see how I placed my pattern ruler now to create this curve, to complete the curve. Then I'll flip it this way in the same manner to also complete the curve. So now I've completed the curve. So from this point, I'm going to link it to the shoulder line. Okay, so I need to divide what I have here. I have 3.5 at this point of my shoulder line. So I'm going to, okay, from this point to this point, I have 3.75. So at this 3.75 right now, I'm dividing 3.75. As you can see, I'm dividing it by 2, and this is what I have. So I'm going to place it at that point and make a mark. Now I'm going to connect this. I'm connecting to that point I came up by 1 inch. So I've connected it. So to eliminate sharp points, I'm going to blend all of these my lines. Okay, so I'm going to blend them. You can see how I'm blending them with my ruler because I don't need any sharp point at all. Okay, so you can see I blended it. So now I have it this way. I'm now going to determine where I want my cup to be. Okay, so if you look at this, you can see this is the 3 inches radius. That is why I usually like having this my radius, okay, all around there. This, so now this is my 3 inches radius. Now I want to come up from that point because I don't want any unnecessary exposure. So that is where why I choose 6 inches from the shoulder. So you can see coming up by 1 inch still falls on this line of 6 inches. So at this point right now, I'm going to connect my cup. All right, so I'll be placing my curve ruler from this point. Okay, you can see where I have it, where the 6 inches terminates this shoulder. That, so I'm going to create my cup. Okay, so I have my cup right now created the way I want it. Now I'm going to connect this cup right away. I'm connecting it back to the armhole. All right, so I'm connecting it back to the armhole right now. Okay, so you can see that is what I actually wanted. So at this point, I'm connecting from this point. Okay, so you can see I've created my cup right now. All right, so now you can see I've completed my cup right now, but I need to tighten this point. Okay, so I'll be taking 0.75 from this point. I'm taking 0.75 inches this way. Can you see that? And I'm going to take 0.575 inches this way. Okay, so you can also take 1 inch depending on the bust size. That is 1 inch 1 inch, or 0.5 0.5. It depends. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm making use of 0.75. Now from this point I came in by 0.75 or 3/4. I'm going to connect with my curve rule. Remember I came up by 1 inch, so I'm connecting this point. Can you see that? I'm trying to tighten my bust. Then I'll flip my ruler this way in the same manner, and I have my connection. So can you see that? So I'm going to cut off this point. All right, so you can see I have my cup already formed, but one thing is remaining. I need to connect this point to touch this point. So I'll be placing my pattern master in this manner, you can see, and I'll follow exactly this form. So you can see right now I have my complete cup. I have a video on how I made a strapless corset. I'll be dropping the link on the description box. If you don't want to make use of a yoke, okay, so but for this tutorial we are making use of a yoke right now. So now I'm going to impute. I have my bust already imputed, and I'm going to impute my under bust measurement. So I have my round under bust measurement of 32 inches, and I'm going to divide it by 4. So at this point of the under bust, this is my under bust. So I'm taking my under bust of 32 divided by 4, 8 inches. Remember, I took 2 inches here, and I'm going to replace my 2 inches. So at the waist, I also have a waist circumference of 32 inches, which is 8, and I have 2 inches. I'm going to also replace my 2 inches. All right, let me take it again. Okay, so now I'm imputing my bust circumference, waist circumference, and under bust circumference. So I have a bust circumference, that is my round bust of 36. 36 divided by 4 is 9 inches. So on the chest line, this is my chest line. I took my measurement on the chest line. You can see my 9 inches. But remember, we took a dart of 1.5, that is 0.75, 0.75. So I'm going to replace that 1.5. Can you see that? Then coming to the under bust, I have under bust measurement of 32 divided by 4. I have 8 inches. I replace these 2 inches. You can see that is what I have here. I did the same here, 8 inches, and I replaced it by 2 inches. So I'm connecting this point to this point with my pattern ruler. So you can see. All right, so it's time for us to impute our bust dart. Remember, we have a front length of 16 inches and back length of 14 inches. Okay, I'll be dropping the link on how to take accurate to draft a basic bodice using your front length and your back length. Okay, so now I have 16 inches at my front. That is the length from the shoulder to my waist on the front. Because of this bust is bigger by 2 inches. Because the back is flat, that is why I have 14 inches. There is no bust intake at the back. So 16 take away 14, I'll be left with 2 inches. So that 2 inches is going to be my dart intake. So I'm going to place my tape right away. Remember, this is, let me label it, this is my chest line, under bust point on my front length. So from the point of the under bust point, I'm going to place my tape this way, and I'm going to take a dart intake of 2 inches. So these 2 inches I have now, I'm connecting it with my straight ruler. This is the 2 inches. I'm taking it all the way to the bust point. Can you see that? So I'm going to cut off this bust dart. Because I need to accommodate my darts, I'm going to share these 2 inches bust intake. I'm going to share it, and I have 1 inch. So at this point of 1 inch, I'm going to take it all the way to the bust point again, and I'll come out by 0.75. So you can see how I came out by 3/4. And I'm going to connect this 3/4 back to this point, and I'll bring it back to the chest line. So you see why we did this when we cut off this. So right now we are done with the front bodies right now, although a little thing is also remaining, but I need to cut off my bust dart right now so as to go on with our corset. All right, so I'll be cutting. Remember, there is no seam allowance already added to this drafting. Okay, please, I've not added any seam allowance. We'll be adding our seam allowance on our fabric when we are embarking on the sewing of this outfit. So now you can see this is what I have right now on my pattern. I need to close up this bust dart. So to close up this bust dart, remember we have our yoke. This is our yoke. I have that as our yoke right now. I want to cut off. All right, so I've cut off this. You can see that, so I'm going to throw this one away. It's not part of this drafting. Now that I have this one off, it's time to cut or to close our bust dart. Okay, so I'm going to cut to this point. Please don't cut it off completely. Then I'm going to put my gum. All right, so you can see I didn't cut it off at all. You can see, can you see that? So I'm going to close my bust dart right now. So you can see it now. I aligned it on this point, and you can see that accommodation we talked about. Okay, all right. So did you notice something here when we close this dart? Okay, you can see our cup shifted. You can see how it shifted because of this bust dart. So we are going to reconnect it back. Okay, you can see the shift. Let me zoom my camera for you to see. Can you see it shifted a little bit? So all right, so now you can see I've connected it back. So I need to cut off right now. I'm cutting off my yoke. So you can see I have my yoke already cut off, and I have my cup also. So but before I cut off this cup, I want to, let me keep it like this for you to see. I need to align this, okay, this line, because I'm cutting off this, so it's going to be shorter when I cut. So I need to align it and seal it up. So you can see the difference right now. You can see that this one is longer. Okay, when you close it up is longer, so we need to fill it in, okay, to match up with it. All right, so I'm going to place a piece of paper below it to recreate that curve. Can you see? So I've placed a piece of paper below it because I want to recreate the curve. So I'm going to place my ruler right now, following this shape of this curve I had before. All right, so you can see I've recreated the curve right now after I closed it up. Okay, so you can see it's actually matching up right now. Can you see that? So now I'm going to cut off. I'm going to trim it off. So at this point, this other one cup is now becoming higher. Okay, you can see it's now higher. So now this is my cup 1 and this is my cup 2, and this is the down part of it. I'm using 2 strokes to identify it and 1 stroke, okay, to help me identify it when I'll be sewing. So now it's time to cut off my cup. So I'll be cutting off. Remember, this shaded area is to be cut off. It's not part of this exercise. Okay, so at this point I'm discarding this. All right, so you can see these are the pieces I have for this yoke and the corset. But now one thing is remaining, and I want to show you what we are going to do next. So at this point I'm taking away my yoke and my cups. Okay, then I'm going to fuse these together. All right, now you can see I've merged the lower parts together. Okay, you can see the darts, I've closed the dart. Now I need to make an extension because I need this. You remember we are making a gown corset, so I need it to come down, not directly from the waist. So I'm coming down a little bit right now. I'm coming down with 2.5 inches. Okay, so I'll be making a mark of 2.5 inches. That is how low I want the upper part to be. So I'm going to place my pattern master from that point, and I'm going to connect it back to create this shape I really desire. So can you see? So that is what I want, how I want the front part to be, and I'm going to cut it off. Okay, now we are at the back piece of this corset right now. So this is my back bodice, as you can see. This is my chest line, my bust point, and my waist. I have a 1-inch dart intake already. So now I want to create my yoke. Okay, I want to give my yoke a good design at the back. All right, before I create my yoke, let me contour my back. Okay, so from the center front, this is my zip allowance of 1 inch. Please take note of it. It's a 1-inch zip for the back. So I'm going to come in from this point of my center back by 0.5 inch to contour my line. So I'm going to connect this 0.5 down to the chest line. Can you see that? So at this chest line, you can see the contour line right now. So I'm going to take my 1-inch zipper from this line and I contoured. Okay, you can see my 1-inch to this point. So I'm going to connect this contour line. All right, so meaning that I'm cutting off this part. It's not part of the bodice. I want to place my round bust for the back. I have a round bust of 36 inches. Divide by 4. I have 9 inches here. So this is my 9 inches. There's no dart intake. And on my waist, I'm taking the measurement of my waist. I have a waist of 32 inches. Divide by 4. I have 8 inches. I'm taking it right from this contour line. Can you see the real line right now? Not from this one anymore, from here. So I'll be taking my 8 inches. This is my 8 inches plus my 1-inch dart intake. That is 9 inches. So this is the point of 9 inches. Now I'm going to connect my bust line to my waistline. Okay, so now I have my back. So it's time. Remember, there's no seam allowance like I always tell you. So we are going to add it on our fabric. So now it's time to contour our line. To create the yoke. All right, so now I'm creating my yoke. So I'm going to make use of this point of my that's the center of my armhole. Okay, and I'm going to come down. I took 2 inches down for my neckline for the back, and now I'm coming down by 5 inches because I don't want to expose my back too much. Okay, so at this point of 5 inches, I'm going to draw, that is my zip line. Okay, so now I'm going to create my neckline for the back. So anything you want to design, okay, it depends on what you want. Okay, I have my pattern master. I can do whatever thing I want to do. I can create and recreate. Okay, so for you can choose what you want, but for this tutorial, this is how I want my yoke to look at the back. So this is my yoke. So now this is not part of my yoke. Okay, sorry, it's part of it because I have a zipper. So I'm going to cut off my yoke. Okay, cut it because the zip will also be there. All right, so let me cut. All right, so now because I have this yoke, I am going to connect the dart. Okay, I'm connecting my dart to touch this created yoke line. Can you see? Because I'm cutting it off. Okay, so let me cut it off right now. All right, so now I'll cut off the contour line. Okay, then I'll cut through the dart line. I'll cut it all the way to this point and I'll stop. Then I'll also cut all the way to this point. Now I'm cutting off from my yoke line. This is my yoke line, and I'm taking Alright, so this is how we come to the end of this tutorial today. I know some of you will be wondering, initially I said I'm going to sew it. Yes, I'm going to sew it for you to see, and we are going to attach our cups, our boning, our padding, everything. We are going to do it, but it's going to be for the next tutorial coming up very soon. Okay, so please try and stay tuned to watch how this corset gown is going to come out. Okay. Okay, so in the next tutorial we are going to fuse this front bodice. We are fusing it to the skirt part of it and cut out our corsets and sew our gown. Okay, thank you very much for watching. If you are new to this channel,